A panicked mother.
I made hundreds of calls to her. She wouldn't answer, wouldn't text me back.
Her worst fears realized.
She didn't deserve this. She was a loving wife. She was a loving mother.
Had someone been planning to hurt Jessica?
He said somebody was following her. She was scared.
Could a mother help lead police to the person responsible?
I'm doing everything I can do to help the detectives get enough evidence to get an arrest warrant.
You've had the money. You've had the opportunity.
Hi, I'm Nancy O'Dell. Today's Crime Exposé takes us to Penn Hills, Pennsylvania, a suburb of Pittsburgh. The quiet community made headlines when a mother was found dead inside her home under mysterious circumstances. As investigators tried to figure out what happened, her family embarked on a long journey that ended in an unthinkable miscarriage of justice. It was February the 6th, the day after Super Bowl Sunday, and even though the weather was unseasonably warm in Pittsburgh, all Beth Arrington could feel was a cold emptiness inside of her. She was worried sick about her daughter, Jessica Vecchiola.
I tried to call her on all day Sunday, February 5th. I made hundreds of calls to her. She wouldn't answer, wouldn't text me back. So I'm thinking, what's she doing? Is she sleeping?
29-year-old Jessica was going through a rough patch in her life. She had recently separated from her husband and had also been involved in a road rage incident which left her in a neck brace. The last time Beth had spoken with her daughter was on Saturday afternoon. What did Jessica tell you during that conversation?
Her neck was hurting. She just wanted to lay down and get some rest. I guess they gave her some muscle relaxers to help with the uncomfortableness of her injury.
Beth knew that Jessica's two sons were with their dad for the weekend, so when she couldn't get in touch on Sunday, she told herself that Jessica was probably still in pain and trying to sleep it off. But by Monday, when her daughter still wasn't responding, she began to panic.
She just started reaching out to other friends, other family members to see if she was the only one who hadn't heard from her. And once she realized that, in fact, nobody had heard from her, that's when she decided to reach out to Jessica's estranged husband.
I texted Tony. I said, Tony, I haven't heard from Jessica all weekend. Have you talked to her? He said, no. It's really weird because she texts me every day, nonstop. I haven't heard from her since Saturday morning.
Beth knew something was terribly wrong. She got into her car and drove to Jessica's home.
Get there, and all the blinds are pulled, all the curtains are shut, and I'm banging on the door.
But there was no response. Beth then tried to go inside, but the door was locked and she didn't have a key.
So I called Tony. I said, Tony, please come over here. I'm at the house. No one's answering. The dogs aren't even barking. Please come over here.
Tony said he was on his way and arrived at the home about 20 minutes later.
He finally gets here, gets out of his car slowly, and I'm like, come on, open this door. So he came up, he unlocked the door and pushed it open so that I would go in first.
The house was dark and eerily quiet as Beth walked through the hallway with Tony following behind.
On the dining room table, I saw medicine bottles all lined up very neatly, and I seen her purse was there. Then I walked forward to go into the bedroom.
The bedroom door was closed. Beth pushed it open and saw Jessica lying motionless on the floor.
Her hands were just like this. Her legs were straight, parallel to the part. I'm smacking her face. I'm like, Jess, come on. And I'm screaming to Tony, please call 911.
Tony made the call. The dispatcher advised him to start CPR, but they both knew it was too late.
She was already gone. The medical people showed up and confirmed that. And I said, Everybody had to get out of the room.
The local police arrived and asked questions about the medication Jessica had been taking. Beth got the sense that they thought her daughter had died from an overdose, but she knew it had to be something else and wanted an investigation.
I says, why aren't there detectives here? And they said, no, we don't see any cause, or it doesn't show any cause of a struggle.
The medical examiner's office arrived a short time later. As Beth watched Jessica's body being wheeled out of the house, she promised her daughter that she wouldn't rest until she found out the truth about what had happened to her.
She said somebody was following her, and she was scared.
Beth Arrington went home that night feeling numb and completely empty inside.
And I was pretty much in shock because it was my firstborn daughter. She was only 29 years old. Her children were 2 and 10.
Tell me a little bit about your daughter. What was Jessica like?
She was a beautiful soul. Her kids were her whole world. Being a mother brought so much joy into her heart. It spread out so many different ways. Like, she would help anyone that needed anything.
Jessica had been looking forward to starting over after her divorce to Tony Vecchiola was finalized. A few days after her death, the medical examiner's office called and said the autopsy report was complete. Beth was right. Jessica didn't die of an overdose.
And found that Jessica had, in fact, suffered a very serious injury that's commonly known as an internal decapitation.
The medical examiner knew the cause of death, but he also knew Jessica had a previous neck injury. The manner was listed as unknown.
Obviously, it wasn't a natural death. It wasn't a suicide. All of those options were off the table, but they couldn't rule it a homicide. They basically determined that it was pending investigation.
But it wasn't being investigated because the local police didn't think Jessica's death was suspicious. The medical examiner's office called the Allegheny County Police to let them know what they found. By this point, detectives were already behind and had to play catch-up.
We lost at least 2 days, if not more.
Investigators met with Jessica's mother to learn more about what happened to her just a week prior to her death. So just a week before her death, something happened to her on the road. What did she tell you about that incident?
She said somebody was following her. So she pulled over, hoping they would just go past her and leave her alone. She was scared.
But the car pulled up right behind her. 2 women jumped out, pulled Jessica from her own car, and attacked her.
And they were banging her head up and down, with her hair, banging her head up and down on the concrete.
Jessica went to the hospital where she was diagnosed with a neck strain and put in a brace. But the injury was not severe enough to have caused her death. Something else had to have happened to her. Investigators wondered if her attackers had come back to finish the job.
We were looking at friends she might have confided in, family members, anybody really who could shed light on who she might have been afraid of, especially in that week between the 2 incidents.
They were also looking at her cell phone, which had mysteriously turned off on February the 5th at 4:30 p.m.
There was no more activity. No more calls, no more texts, nothing.
All the data from that point on was gone. Even Beth's own frantic calls and texts to her daughter. For months, investigators tried to recover the information from the phone, but couldn't. Then Beth came up with an idea.
I decided, what if I go and buy another phone and just have it connected to her line? And everything came up. I found so much information in that phone. I'm doing everything I can do to help the detectives get enough evidence to get an arrest warrant.
As Beth read through the contents of Jessica's phone that no one had been able to see before, she couldn't believe it. There was a text message conversation on February the 5th between Jessica and her estranged husband, Tony.
When Tony was coming over, Jessica demanded that he come over today or she's going to go and do the taxes herself.
Tony was mad about having to do this on Super Bowl Sunday, but he agreed.
Not only did they have a plan to meet up, but he was indicating he was on his way to the house. And that was her last outgoing activity.
After that, the phone showed missed calls and texts from people looking for Jessica.
You started to see, at first, just normal attempts of family and friends reaching out to her. And when they weren't getting responses, they became more agitated. Some people thought she was ignoring them. And then some people became very concerned. And you could see her mother was getting very frantic and concerned.
But not one of those worried messages came from Tony. Why was that a big red flag for you?
In my mind, when you have an imminent plan to meet up with someone and say you go to that residence and that person's not responsive, you would see a lot of follow-up activity with that person. Hey, where are you? I'm out front, let me in. There was nothing.
Tony's actions were suspicious, and detectives learned the couple had a history of violence against each other.
They had a very volatile relationship, a lot of domestic issues.
Issues that went back to when they first started dating in high school and continued throughout their relationship.
I would say every 3 to 6 months, something would happen. And she would always say, Mom, I love him.
That must have been so tough on you as a mom, seeing your daughter struggle so much, but not being able to convince her to walk away.
It was very difficult. You know, I had a lot of sleepless nights, simply because I didn't know what was going on. What's going on today? Is it going to happen again tomorrow?
Beth was surprised when Jessica told her that she and Tony had mutually agreed to a divorce.
She had just been hopeful that this time that they would both just follow through with the separation and move on with their lives for everyone's sake.
The divorce was almost finalized when Jessica died, and now investigators wondered if Tony had not been okay with her leaving him after all. They had a lot of questions for him, but he refused to answer any of them.
He had a lawyer and he didn't want to explain it.
Detectives got a subpoena for Tony's cell phone to see where he was on February the 5th.
His location data from his cell phones actually put him near her home. So there's every indication that he was heading towards the house.
Investigators were convinced that something happened in that house and that he then tried to cover his tracks.
We realized that someone had gone into her cell phone and had deleted the text messages that would have shown this plan to meet up and her directing him into the home.
As the evidence continued to pile up against Tony Vecchiola, Jessica's mom had no choice but to continue to act as if she didn't suspect him.
I have to play the loving mother-in-law, supportive for the kids, for Tony, so that I could keep a relationship with my grandchildren. And then on the other side, I'm doing everything I can do to help the detectives get enough evidence to get an arrest warrant.
The one key issue that no one could get past was that the manner of death was still listed as unknown. The medical examiner knew what killed Jessica, but didn't know how it happened. Without a change on the death certificate, no one could be held responsible.
And I said, listen, I was told this type of incident only happens in a massive car accident. It takes a massive amount of force for this injury to happen. And they said, well, maybe it happened when she was attacked 4 days prior by those 2 women. I said, okay, whether they did it or he did it, it's still homicide.
The medical examiner agreed, and with Jessica's death now ruled a homicide, investigators met with the prosecutor to go over what they had against Tony Vecchiola.
We're able to articulate to the prosecutor that things were contentious. He didn't want to sign over this tax return to her. He had the motive. He had the opportunity. It didn't really point to anyone else.
The evidence was all circumstantial, but everything pointed towards Vecchiola being Jessica's killer. The prosecutor agreed to charge him. Detectives called Beth with the news and even included her in the plan to take her son-in-law into custody.
I drove up to the Miracle Mall Shopping Center. The kids jumped in my car. I gave Tony a big hug, said, "I love you." Got in my car, and I drove away with the kids. Once we were out of sight, that's when they grabbed me.
Vecchiola was arrested and charged with criminal homicide. Just when Jessica's family felt as if justice would finally get served, the case took a shocking turn. Just days before Tony Vecchiola was about to stand trial for Jessica's murder, her family got unexpected news.
The first thing that was presented to me from the district attorney was, if he admitted that he murdered her, you would accept the plea deal. And me and my daughter and her godmother, Kim, looked at each other like, what do you mean? I have no idea what you're talking about. He says, oh no, we've already got the paperwork all signed. He's gonna plead guilty.
Shock turned to anger when the district attorney then said the murder charge was off the table. Vecchiola had agreed to plead guilty to involuntary manslaughter. And there was more bad news. What was the sentence under the plea deal?
He'll get a total of 5 years on house arrest, which he already had 2.5, and 5 years probation. I said, I never agreed to that.
Beth says she couldn't believe it. The man who had killed her daughter wouldn't even spend one day behind bars.
It's just astonishing to me. I just feel like there was such an injustice done regarding my daughter's death. It's unacceptable.
Because of her grandchildren, Beth has been forced to continue seeing her former son-in-law. To this day, he still hasn't said anything directly to her about Jessica's murder.
He's never, ever shown any remorse to me or our family. He's never apologized. Nothing. Just acts like everything's the same.
It's a bitter pill to swallow for a mother who has already lost so much.
There's not a day that goes by that I don't think about her. She didn't deserve this. She was a loving wife. She was a loving mother. I miss her so much.
The Allegheny District Attorney's Office would not comment about Vecchiola's sentence, but said in the past that they believed the plea deal was the best they could do with the limited evidence they had in the case. The women involved in the road rage incident were never identified. And now, it's time for today's Safety Spotlight. The mysterious death of Jessica Vecchiola would never have been ruled a murder if it weren't for Jessica's determined mother, Beth Arrington. If it is your instinct that your loved one met with foul play, never give up until you learn the truth. And while you may be intimidated to help police solve a crime or fear retaliation, the information provided by witnesses, friends, and family members often provides critical clues which help detectives to solve a crime. If you have information about a crime, you can report it to your local police department, or also you can report it anonymously by calling 1-800-222-TIPS or crimestoppersusa.org. I'm Nancy O'Dell. For all of us here at Crime Exposé, please join us next time and stay safe.